Welcome back. My name is Patrick, and in today's video, we're going to take a look at how the Edmonton Oilers can make a 21-man roster work. Now, I looked at this a couple days ago in a different video, but we did get confirmation this morning from Daniel Nugent-Bowman of The Athletic that if the Oilers don't make a trade, they will be going with a 21-man roster. So now that we know it will be a 21-man roster officially, like I said, barring a trade, I wanted to take a look at how the Oilers can make a 21-man roster work. So I went over to the cap-friendly roster builder and ran some options. So with a 21-man roster, the Oilers will be running with 12 forwards, 7 defensemen, and 2 goaltenders. The 7 defensemen, I think, are already locked in: Darnell Nurse, Tyson Barrie, Brett Kulak, Cody Ceci, Philip Broberg, Evan Bouchard, and Ryan Murray. I give Ryan Murray the edge over Dmitry Samorukov just because his contract is less. Samorukov makes $775,000, Murray makes $750,000. I think Ryan Murray would be claimed if the Oilers put him on waivers, but the Oilers also run that risk with Dmitry Samorukov. But as Daniel Nugent-Bowman notes in his article today, Ken Holland has stated he's willing to run the risk of putting players on waivers. At this point, I think the Oilers would find Ryan Murray more useful than Dmitry Samorukov. I don't think there's a strong chance that Samorukov would be claimed on waivers. Could be wrong, obviously, but I think he would clear for the Oilers and he'd be available as a call-up option later in the year if needed, and he can continue to develop playing higher up in the lineup with the Bakersfield Condors. And I think the top 6 on defense is pretty self-explanatory. Ken Holland said Philip Broberg would have to literally play his way off the roster, so Broberg will be there, and the other 5 guys are a given. And of course in goal, Jack Campbell and Stuart Skinner, barring an unexpected injury, Campbell and Skinner will be the guys for the Oilers this season. So at forward is obviously where things get interesting and very complicated. So for my 12 players for the opening day roster, and I stress this is for the opening day roster, I went with the following: Evander Kane, Connor McDavid, Jesse Puljujärvi, Zach Hyman, Leon Draisaitl, Kyler Yamamoto, Matthias Janmark, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Xavier Bourgault, Dylan Holloway, Ryan McLeod, and Devon Shore. This roster would give the Oilers a cap hit of $82,439,333, putting them $60,000 below the salary cap, which is almost optimal for the Oilers as they want to be as close as possible to the $82.5 million salary cap to make the most of their LTIR space with Mike Smith and Oscar Klefbom. Now, like I said, this is the opening day roster. The Oilers want Dylan Holloway on there because if they try to call him up later in the year, his bonuses will count towards his cap hit, which I believe puts him at 1.4 or 1.7 million. I might have him mixed up there with Philip Broberg, but either way, $925,000 is obviously much better than 1.4 million or 1.7 million, with the Oilers being as tight to the cap as they are. Another player of note on my opening day roster is Xavier Bourgault. Now, this is a player that is strictly on there for the opening day roster to make the salary cap work. I have no expectations that Bourgault would remain on the roster for an extended period of time. I imagine the Oilers would send him down shortly after announcing the opening day roster, or maybe they let him stay up for 9 games before sending him down to Bakersfield. Either way, I don't see a situation where Bourgault remains on the team long term unless he comes out of the gate, all cylinders firing, scoring like crazy, looks like he belongs. But that's pretty unlikely, so like I said, Bourgault should be headed down shortly after the opening day roster is announced. I also have Ryan McLeod on my roster at an $850,000 cap hit. The upper limit of what we're hearing he could earn is around $975,000, so obviously it could be higher than $850,000. It'll be much easier to do these calculations once we finally have Ryan McLeod signed and we know exactly what his number is. Heard some reports that Ryan McLeod could get a 2-year contract if the Oilers are able to make a trade, but right now it's looking like a 1-year deal in that $850,000 to $975,000 range. If it has to be a 1-year deal, the Oilers need to get that number as low as they possibly can. So, like I said, I've gone with $850,000. I have $60,000 in cap space in this model, so there is room to possibly put McLeod up to like $900,000. So we'll see what happens there, but until Ryan McLeod actually signs a contract, it's all really a guessing game at this point. And one final note on this roster, Warren Foegele, Derek Ryan, obviously missing. I put them on waivers, sent them down to Bakersfield to make the money work for the opening day roster. So the second roster I created has a cap hit of $82,464,333, putting the Oilers $35,000 under the $82.5 million salary cap. For this roster, Warren Foegele will remain, but Derek Ryan will still be sent down to Bakersfield, and I've created room for a $750,000 forward to be signed. As I'm sure you noticed, there was no room for that $750,000 signing in roster 1. And if you haven't noticed by now, the Edmonton Oilers have some very serious cap problems. I don't know how they make this work properly without making a trade. Yes, you can put a 21-man roster together, they could be competitive, but you have to think injuries or illness are going to come in as a factor at some point. Daniel Nugent-Bowman pointed out in his article the Oilers can only call up a player with an $850,000 cap hit from Bakersfield if they have a player out with injury or illness. They don't get any cap relief unless that player goes on long-term injured reserve, which means they're out for quite a while. They're not going to help the team, so it's not an ideal situation for the Oilers to be in by any stretch. I believe they have to find a way to make a trade. Does it happen before the start of the season? I don't know. Jesse Puljujarvi is the name we're hearing talked about the most. A $3 million cap hit. If the Oilers could move Puljujarvi for a draft pick, that opens up all kinds of possibilities. The Oilers could probably go up to a 23-man roster, at least a 22-man roster, but it makes them weaker on the right side. Jake Virtanen is the PTO we hear about the most. Can he come in, make a difference at $750K? Can he be that third-line right winger? I'd rather have Jesse Puljujarvi at this point. Warren Foegele, if he went, he's at $2.75 million, so he helps almost as much. The Oilers are much deeper on the left side than the right side. So at the end of the day, a Warren Foegele trade makes more sense for the Oilers positionally. But as you saw on the rosters, Foegele can play on the right side, so the Oilers could go Hyman, Yamamoto, Foegele, maybe Derek Ryan as the fourth line right wing, Devin Shore, Tyler Benson, whoever. Like I said, there's much more depth on the left side, so maybe that's the route the Oilers go. And lastly for today, I thought I'd just go over the rookie camp details that were released by the Edmonton Oilers this morning. Their release reads as follows. The Oilers have announced details for their 2022 rookie camp, including the roster and game dates for the Young Stars Classic, September 16th to 19th in Penticton, BC. Rookie camp opens September 14th with medicals and fitness testing at Rogers Place before the team departs to Penticton to take on the Winnipeg Jets, Calgary Flames, and Vancouver Canucks. Edmonton's rookie camp roster features 25 players, including 3 goaltenders, 8 defensemen, and 14 forwards. This year's roster features 13 Oilers draft selections and the club's 4 most recent first-round picks, Reed Schaefer, Xavier Bourgault, Dylan Holloway, and Philip Broberg. The Oilers rookies play the Jets rookies on Friday, September 16th at 5 p.m. Mountain, the Flames rookies on Saturday, September 17th at 8:30 p.m. Mountain, and the Canucks rookies on Monday, September 19th at 3:30 p.m. Mountain. Young Stars Classic games will be streamed live on EdmontonOilers.com and the team's social media channels. Following the conclusion of rookie camp, select players will be invited to attend training camp. That's all for now. Let me know your thoughts on the 21-man roster. Will the Oilers make a trade? Let me know in the comment section below. If this is your first visit to the channel and you like what you see, please consider liking and subscribing for all the latest Oilers content. You've been watching the Oilers Fanatic. Thanks for being a fan. Take care, guys. I'll see you soon.